hours for $10 is only.
Hello! Activate the social media bundle for $10 is only and receive 40 megabytes.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow. For the first time in the Gambia, your favorite GSM operator, AfriCell, is the first and only GSM operator to launch a brand new technology called the eSIM. The eSIM simply means you can use your phone without a SIM card. Do you have an iPhone 11, any of the iPhone X series, a Google Pixel 3, or any new phone that supports the e-technology? Then walk into any AfriCell customer care center and activate your eSIM today. With your virtual AfriCell SIM, you can use more than one number without having a physical SIM card in your phone. Enjoy this brand new technology for the first time in the Gambia, brought to you by AfriCell. eSIM, your phone without a SIM card. For more information, please call 111. Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow.
Welcome to the TOK service.
What is TOK?
This is an amazing service from AfriCell that enable you to choose one AfriCell number to talk to for a period of 1 month. 30 days for $150 only. To subscribe to the service, send SUB to 135 and follow the instruction.
The TOK service from AfriCell is accessible, reliable, and affordable, giving you 1,000 minutes to say all you can for 1 month.
For more info, call 111.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow.
The cheapest phone in the Gambia, AfriPhone, is back in a brand new style. AfriCell, the biggest and the best GSM operator in the Gambia, is setting trends once again.
Get an AfriPhone for $350 is only and receive 1 hour of free talk time spread over 3 months.
$350 is only. You can get a dual SIM phone with a wireless FM radio, memory card slot, internet access, long-lasting battery, and 1 hour of free talk time.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow. AfriCell is setting trends once again. I'm sure you still love WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and Viber. Your favorite GSM operator, AfriCell, knows this. That's why you can now enjoy more at the same price. Activate the social media bundle and be online for 24 hours for $10 is only.
Hello! Activate the social media bundle for $10 is only and receive 40 megabytes.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow. For the first time in the Gambia, your favorite GSM operator, AfriCell, is the first and only GSM operator to launch a brand new technology called the eSIM. The eSIM simply means you can use your phone without a SIM card. Do you have an iPhone 11, any of the iPhone X series, a Google Pixel 3, or any new phone that supports the e-technology? Then walk into any AfriCell customer care center and activate today. With your virtual AfriCell SIM, you can use more than one number your physical SIM card in your phone. Enjoy this brand new technology for the first time in the Gambia, brought to you by AfriCell. eSIM, your phone without a SIM card. For more information, please call 111. Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow.
welcome to the TOK service.
What is TOK?
This is an amazing service from AfriCell that enable you to choose one AfriCell number to talk to for a period of 1 month. 30 days for $150 only. To subscribe to the service, send SUB to 135 and follow the instruction.
The TOK service from AfriCell is accessible, reliable, and affordable, giving you 1,000 minutes to say all you can.
Personalities, get ready to be entertained, inspired, and motivated on the WAHTAN platform. Plus, stand a chance of winning the shopping of your life. Call or SMS 1010 for $3 only to win cash prizes and a free shopping spree.
Join WAHTAN live on GRTS and social media on Mondays and Fridays at 9 p.m. Kalin New WAHTAN.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow.
WAHTAN brought to you by AfriCell.
Be part of the amazing conversations with Gambia's greatest minds and personalities. Get ready to be entertained, inspired, and motivated on the WAHTAN platform. Plus, stand a chance of winning the shopping of your life. Call or SMS 1010 for $3 only to win cash prizes and a free shopping spree.
Join WAHTAN live on GRTS and social media on Mondays and Fridays at 9 p.m. Kalin New WAHTAN.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow. Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to the WAHTAN TV show right here at GRTS. WAHTAN is proudly brought to you by AfriCell, your #1 GSM operator. And WAHTAN is here to meet the people, discuss with the people, talk about pertinent issues, looking at our country, looking at our society, looking at our communities, discussing exactly what's happening to us today, looking at our young people, looking at the elderly. That's what we have today, and that's what we'll be talking about. With me in the studio, I have two amazing people who will be shedding light on a lot of activities. We'll talk about their lives. We'll talk about their organizations. We'll talk about what they contribute and what they're doing for our beloved country. But in the meantime as well, if you're watching us, keep on calling and sending your SMSs to 1010 because, see, WAHTAN, you stand a chance of winning loads of cash prizes, and that is AfriCell's COVID-19 fund for you. Plus, you stand a chance as well of winning a free shopping spree at the Right Choice supermarket, wherein you have 1 minute to run into the supermarket and grab as much and as many food items as you want, and they'll be given to you all for free. I'm in the studio with the beautiful Mam Yassin. Sarr, good evening and welcome to WAHTAN.
Good evening and thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. And on my right, I have Mr. Alasan Senghore. Welcome to WAHTAN.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. Mam Yassin Sarr is the co-founder and director of Starfish International. Starfish is based in Lamine. It is a charity organization. It is a school of thought. It is a school of ladies and girls teaching and bringing advocacy to people in the surrounding and girls nationwide. And Mam Yassin is the brain behind this beautiful project. And as well, we have Mr. Alasan Senghore. Mr. Alasan Senghore is the Secretary General of the Gambia Red Cross Society. I know presently and currently you've been seeing their vehicles going up and down the country, doing a lot of work, and we'll be discussing those work here as well, right here on GRTS. If you're tuning in from all the sister TV stations, from Fatu Network, Kir Fatu, iAfrica TV, Star TV, and Paradise TV, and if you're joining us on the AfriCell Facebook page and on Afri Radio, a warm good evening right from GRTS. You're watching WAHTAN, and this is the first episode. I'll start with Mam Yassin. We always say ladies first, so new door WAHTAN Akio.
Okay.
I would say I'm very lucky to have you. I believe a lot of people have tried, and I'll put you on the spot. I'm sorry for doing that. After I know they'll run after you, but I'll be happy having you here. And a lot of people hear about Starfish. They see the work, but they don't know the brain behind Starfish. So you're the brain. But before we talk about Starfish, who is Mam Yassin?
Who am I? Thank you for having me. You're right. I am very camera shy. Not because I don't like talking. I'm a teacher by profession, so I love talking. But it's because I so firmly believe that when we talk about uplifting people, they should lead the way, and we should be in the back supporting and guiding them. So yes, I appreciate this platform. I hope in the future the students themselves can sit here and speak for themselves. I consider myself a teacher and an educator first. I consider myself a mother, an African woman, a Gambian woman, and a world citizen. So that's who Mam Yassin is.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And at least I've walked around Starfish, and I've seen who Mam Yassin is in the beautiful girls that are there, and it's not a surprise hearing this from you. I'll ask the same thing of Mr. Senghore. Mr. Senghore, a lot of people have heard about you. A lot of people have seen you online and doing a lot of work as well for, if I believe, the IFRC or the ICRC. And who is Mr. Senghore, and how did his Red Cross journey start?
Thank you very much for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here and to share my little experience, and also congratulations for this WAHTAN show. I think it's very useful, particularly for some of us to share our experiences and the journeys that we took to be where we are today. I am basically a humanitarian, but also a development practitioner. I'm a Gambian, born and bred here, studied here, but studied abroad as well, and worked for the Gambia Red Cross, starting from the grassroots, being a volunteer when I was in primary school, then to being a staff. And then also being the Secretary General before in the 80s, and then left for international experience, and have had series of positions from operations to policy and diplomacy. I've done everything to the second highest level in the International Red Cross.
So how do you do it? You were the SG in the 80s, but you still look like a very young man. So what is the secret behind this?
Well, first and foremost, I do take care of myself, and it's all about passion. I'm doing something that I'm passionate about, that is serving people, saving lives, and doing something that I enjoy doing, and that's how I survive. Because if you're doing, you get that satisfaction, but at the same time you get self-fulfillment in it, and that's how I really do things, and to keep myself strong and healthy.
That's wonderful. If you're just joining us as well, you're watching WAHTAN be right here at GRTS. My name is Ronald Senghore, and today on the panel I have Mr. Alasan Senghore, the Secretary General of the Gambia Red Cross Society, and I have Mam Yassin Sarr, who is the co-founder and director of Starfish International here in the Gambia. Mam Yassin, we've heard of all these traits. Now, but a lot of people don't see you, so back to it. What made you start Starfish? What was the purpose behind it, starting Starfish, and when did all this start?
Well, I would say Starfish started when I was 8 years old. But
that's how many decades ago?
I'm 46 years old now, so it's been a while. But Starfish proper, the organization itself, started in 2009.
Okay.
And the reason I say it started when I was 8 years old was because when I was 8 years old, I made this decision that when I grow up, I want to do something so that any little girl that needs help and needs support will have a place to go. And any mother who is suffering and feeling desperate will have a support system and a place to go. And I was born and grew up in Lemon Village. And as I was growing up, the older I got, the more women and girls I left behind. I was growing up around women and girls who I was not more intelligent than. I had one advantage, which was that my mom had gone to school, and therefore she could help me with homework, she could help me with different things. I had also watched my mom stand up for a lot of different things, like her children going to school, like me being saved from female genital mutilation, like her getting her own job and being able to help with providing for her children and for her family. So I had a blueprint. And I just felt a responsibility. I understood my privilege, and I understood that to ease the suffering, I needed to use the privilege that I had to come back and serve my community. So that's how Starfish was born. And then as I went through elementary, middle, and high school, I wasn't in the Red Cross. I admire the Red Cross greatly, but I was a Girl Guide, and I was a ranger.
Okay.
And as I grew up then, I did different things to serve. But then when I went to college, my mother-in-law had breast cancer, and we were the primary caregivers, my husband and I. And as I was still going to school pursuing a PhD, I started looking at myself and thinking, I'm pursuing all these things that I really want, but if I were the one with breast cancer, what would I regret not having done by this time in my life? And what I would have regretted not having done is come back to the Gambia and try to do something to serve women and girls. And I understood early on that was not going to be possible unless men and boys were involved, because I was saved from female genital mutilation, not just because of my mom, but because my father stood beside my mom. And so those choices and that education, and my dad sitting up all night keeping me company while I studied, made me realize there were a lot of advantages I had in terms of how you breed and nurture development that I had a responsibility to share. And that's what Starfish is about.
Beautiful. And what's the name of your mom?
Aji Adama Jallow Sarr.
Aji Adama Jallow Sarr.
Yes. You suspected.
You know? Yes, I know. I mean, it's Uncle Babu Sarr.
Yes.
Dad, yes. He used to be very, one of the people I look up to. I used to look up to, in Lamin.
Yes. Yeah. So anything I do is never new, because my mom and dad were both such servants of humanity. So anytime I speak, people go, oh, I know your dad, and I know your mom. And they did these things, so I grew up with that, in that kind of environment.
Yes, that's nice. It's a Gambia and Dawrek.
Yeah, it's a small country.
Yes, small
one family.
One family, we're all family. Sure. And talking about family and community, how do you see, when you were a younger person, your life then, and how we are right now as a country in 2020, and the young people then?
Completely different. When we were young, I mean, I was born in Serekunda, and I grew up in Serekunda. It was a small, I wouldn't say a village, but a small town, where, I mean, even now, I can start from Westfield up to Bakote Bridge, telling you each compound, what family lived there. So it was a knitted community. People were together, they shared things. I could go to any of those houses and have food, and they would know my dad, and so on and so forth. And that's different today. And people are more, disconnected. They are more connected electronically than being connected as a family. And this is what is missing. But at the same time, I think we need to capitalize on the digital transformation and use it for the advantages of humanity, if I could use that word. Because one of the things that I always try to do wherever I worked was to try and bring people together. For example, I had this notion a couple of 2004 when I was posted in Dakar to be the head of region. And I realized that people were in the same building, in the same office. They would be sharing emails without physically talking to each other. And that really was a complete disconnect, So I decided that people could come together every day, twice during the day, for 30 minutes over coffee and chit-chat. Because that's what is lacking. And I think this is the society today. So we have to make use of what society is today. It's about technology, it's about, people are mobile, people are living here, they're living in the UK and so on. But we use technology to communicate. So we have to look at it, how we can marry the two, technology and also having some family connections and people living together, coexisting well, and to understand each other better, because I think if we don't do that, we we tend to lose out in terms of the human touch that is supposed to be there. I mean, what is one interesting thing is, I mean, it happens here, it happens in Europe. You see a husband and a wife sitting at a restaurant, each of them busy with their mobile phones.
Yeah.
You know, those are the things. It happens in the houses, it happens on the streets. So I think this is the consciousness we have to build around technology, so that people can use technology for their advantage, but not for technology to disadvantage humanity.
Yeah, that's right. I've not even close to how long you beautiful people have lived, but at least the time we were quite younger, we used to have, like, in the evenings, we'll come out in the see Etabi or you talk to Digi Kerbi, and our grandparents would tell us stories and would sing songs and all of that. And basically, I think we're losing that part of our culture, and I don't know how we can work hard or work to get it back.
So this is an area that Starfish is very passionate about. I feel that particularly in Africa, we have to reclaim our narrative and we have to tell our own stories. But yet we can't bury our heads in the sand. So, you know, Lebon Lupin sitting around doing it in the ITA is one thing, right? But producing books that have our Lebons and Lupins, that have our folk tales, is another way to do it. So if we're looking at educating the youth, one of the things that we like to do at Starfish is to have the youth go out into the community and do exactly what Mr. Senghore is talking about. Go into the community and interview the adults, the grandparents within your community. And as you interview them, then that connection is built. But then the stories that they tell you, you can come and write down and then publish. And if there's somebody that is particularly interested in art, they can be the illustrator for the book that is a story that comes out of your culture that you preserved. There's no reason why when we go to do sensitizations, we can't bring drums and dancing and music. We know in our culture that if you beat a drum, people show up. So we can advertise in other ways, but one of the ways that we can also advertise is using drums and dancing. We know that drama is a big thing, and so the concepts that we try to explain, from COVID-19 to sickle cell anemia to all of those, people might not have the English for it, but they definitely have the local languages, and then you can actually use drama to illustrate that, all the way down to proverbs and all the way down to concepts. So, you know, another thing I'm passionate about is gender equity. Now, I always say, when you talk about men and women being equal, it becomes usually this point of contention, which it doesn't have to be. In my own life, I said my mom encouraged schooling, and my dad stayed up and sat at the dining table and studied with me. When I was very sleepy, he would walk with me to the main road, take a walk, and come back. So this was a family thing. But if we use the analogies we have around us, for example, a bird. If you say to somebody, there are two wings of a bird. One wing is male, and the other wing is female. And when you empower both wings, the bird, which is the family, can fly higher. There is no fight about it. Nobody's going to say, cut the male wing. No, cut the female wing. Right? We all work together. So we are surrounded, I think, particularly in Africa, we are surrounded by such richness, which is why I'm so bothered with the word poverty when we describe ourselves, because that's material poverty. When it comes to spirituality, when it comes to talking to each other, storytelling, when it comes to respect for elders and things like that, we have a lot to teach the world, but we have to recognize it and value it ourselves first. So there's no sadness about it, there's just a waking up to it and looking at what we have, where we are, and using it to make a difference.
Thank you very much. If you're just joining us, there's a huge amount of knowledge right now being shared by Mr. Senghore and Mam Yassin. But if you're just joining us, you're watching WAHTAN right here on GRTS, and we'll be going for a short break to show you the wonderful village of Tanje. But when we come back, you've met Mr. Senghore, you've met Mam Yassin, but now we're going to go into the work that they do, how they do it, the challenges that they face, and the returns that they've scored. So don't go away. Now we'll go to Tanje And in this segment is called Know Your Country. And Tanje is the first beautiful village we're going to show you in this segment. Don't go away, keep on calling and sending your SMSs to 1010 and be a winner on the show. We'll be right back. Welcome to Tanje, Gambia's biggest fishing village, home of the fishermen and the fishmongers. People come from far and wide to come and get fish, or buy fish, or look for fish, or have business opportunities. But Tanje is not only for fishing. Tanje is not only for fish. You have kayaking, you have a village museum, Tanje Village Museum, and you have a camel safari. So follow me into discovering Tanje. And let me tell you, know your country. You're watching the WAHTAN show right here at GRTS, proudly brought to you by AfriCell. Call 1010 if you want to be a winner on this show. We'll just do quick draws for those of you that have been calling and sending your SMSs to 1010, and then we'll come back into the conversation with Mr. Alasan Senghore, the Secretary General of the Gambia Red Cross Society, and Mam Yassin, Sarr, co-founder and director of Starfish International. So what I'll do, I'll just run this through quickly, synchronize the screen with the phone, and then start the draw. So in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and start. Okay, the numbers are rolling on the screen right now. Numbers of everyone that have been calling and sending the SMSs to 1010. We're going to have 4 winners straight, and each winner will be winning $7,500 from AfriCell. This money could go a long way in helping you and your family. It's been a difficult year. It's been a difficult period. COVID-19 is taking its toll, but at least you can cover a little bit, not much, but help yourselves and your family. And stop. 7372922, 7372922, 7372922, 7372922. That's the first winner, and then we do another draw and start. All right. Call us, send your SMSs to 1010. The WAHTAN show is here every Monday and Fridays at 9 p.m. on the GRTS, Kerfatu Fatu Network, iAfrica TV, Star TV, Paradise TV, AfriCell Facebook page, and Afri Radio. And stop. 277-2515, 277-2515, 277-2515, and start. Our guys will call these numbers immediately after the show and tell you how you pick up your money. It will be given to you in a safe environment, the same way we are sitting very safely, observing social distance. It's the same manner in which you receive your cash via AfriMoney directly on your phone. And stop. 2163923, 2163923. 2163923. That's our third winner. And now let's find out who our fourth winner is going to be. And okay, call 1010, send your SMSs to 1010. This is we'll do a draw for 4 numbers, but then before the show ends, there's a grand prize of the AfriCell shopping spree at Righteous Supermarket, where you stand a chance of running in for a minute and grabbing as much food items as you want. And stop. 7216-214, 7216-214. Those 4 winners have each won themselves $7,500, and we'll give it to them tomorrow by the grace of God at the AfriCell head office. You'll be called after the show by Mr. Modufai and by Bitey, and then they will let you know when to pick up your cash. Okay, welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching the WAHTAN show right here at GRTS. I have the beautiful Mam Yassin Sarr, co-founder and director of Starfish International, and Mr. Alasan Senghore Madombai, the Secretary General of the Gambia Red Cross. Mam Yassin, what works do the Starfish International do in the Gambia, and how have you impacted lives with what you do?
So we're nearing the point where we have to say what work do they not do as opposed to what work we do. And the reason why is because I talked about the centrality of the girl within the family. So when we say, for example, girls' education, or when we say educate the girl, even in terms of COVID-19, if you look at who she interacts with, everybody she interacts with, if she's going to the market and coming back, she's going to the market, she's going to interact with people there, she's going to bring back whatever to the family. When she comes, she's going to cook. So the nutrition of the family depends on her. If there are children crying, usually she's responsible for taking care of them. So she impacts the children. If there are older people there, she's going to deal with the older people and help take care of them. If there are guys there, usually she'll actually clean the house, clean their rooms and so on. So she interacts with everybody. So when you go to develop and nurture the next generation then, and you look at the work of girls and focusing on them where there are limited resources, where do you work? And it's everywhere. Reading, we have library programs. We have mobile libraries where we go into the villages and read to the kids. We have a civic education program, because if you want to change policy, then you have to teach civilians about their rights. What is the job of the president? Does the president work for you, or is he your boss, or she your boss, and so on and so forth. So when we enter a village and we say we're going to read to kids, and we bring books to them, because they can't go to a library, they check out the books and then we read to them. But while we're reading to them, the parents and adults are free. And so we do civic education with them. You cannot talk about empowering a nation without the young people having a source of financial independence. And so when it comes to financial independence, we're into business education and small business development. You cannot talk about developing a nation if you don't talk about agriculture and nutrition, like I said. So we have gardening and agricultural projects going. You cannot deal with a nation and develop it without talking about health. But then with limited resources, you can't just put it all on the healthcare system. This is where the Red Cross comes in, of course, but then this is also where young people at 13-year-old can be taught how to check blood pressure. So that if she's in a village, she can check the blood pressure of the people that are there instead of them having to go to the city and the towns. So when it comes to agriculture, education, civic education, music and drama, dance, gender equity, Starfish does it all.
That's true. Beautiful Starfish does it all. A group of beautiful young women. I've had the chance to meet them. I'll ask you something else. Well, let me just jump to Mr. Senghore. Mr. Senghore, before we come into the COVID-19, what are the works of the Red Cross in the Gambia?
Thank you very much. I think this is a very important question in the sense that when you talk about Red Cross, people see Red Cross as first aid, delivering first aid or coming out in disasters. I mean, Red Cross is much more than that, and I have said here earlier on that I do development work apart from the humanitarian, because you have what we call the nexus between humanitarian and development, meaning that they are interlinked. And you cannot do one without the other. So what the Red Cross does basically is starting with young people. Most young people, including myself, grew up in the Red Cross. And the values that the Red Cross puts in us starts at a very young age. When you are from primary school, young people are brought together in a link, or with what we call a link, and they are taught values, values either be it local traditional things or the international value, international humanitarian law, the principles and the values of the Red Cross, how to serve humanity and how to respect dignity and rights of people. At the same time, how to deliver the services, humanitarian services, how to assist people. And in the process, they also learn to do certain things. And in fact, you have some of them in Africa. Baibite was somebody who grew up in the Red Cross, and several others. And what they are doing now, be it their work professionally, or in drama, or in music, we have a lot of musicians and comedians who grew up in the Red Cross. We can talk about the Humanity Stars, we can talk about the Bright Stars, and many others, and Barhama, and all of them grew up through the Red Cross. But even professionally, you look at some of the young Gambians who are doing very well in Europe, started their career or whatever through the Red Cross. So we have a lot that we do in terms of building young people and giving them skills that they would never get from the formal education system. And I'm saying this against the backdrop that when we look at Africa, this is not only about Gambia. We often say school dropouts. There are no dropouts. They are squeezed out by the system because it's like a bottleneck, what in French they say embouteillage, meaning that when you look at from primary, you have several thousands in the primary school. When you go to higher schools, high school, you have smaller numbers that get entrance into it. And then you go to university, it's the same thing. So that's why I strongly believe that it's not about kids dropping out. It is because they are squeezed out by the system. And this is where the Red Cross comes in. Whether they are squeezed out or they are in school, we provide them with that opportunity to learn skills, but also to be, leaders of tomorrow, because we teach them leadership skills. I mean, we expose them to certain things they would not have been exposed to in the formal school setting and so on. Now, the second and the most important thing is we contribute to the development of women, as you were saying. Not only of But some tangible things, I can give you examples. We have a livelihood project where in communities in the Kiangs, we provide women with water, access to safe drinking water through boreholes and solar powered and everything, and we fence gardens. We organize them in groups and we give them tools and seeds. But at the same time, most interestingly, we have what we call schools for husbands. You know, and people wonder what the schools for husbands is. It's about bringing the husbands to talk to them about how they should collaborate and support their wives. And we have seen this pay dividends. In some villages, the first year, the yield from the garden was very low. But when we managed to convince, through the schools for husbands, the husbands to understand that they have a role and a responsibility to support their wives, I mean, they started going and supporting their wives. And, so beautiful. This is very, very important, because you don't only focus on the women, but as you were saying, you have to understand how and the only way you can do it is through dialogue. So those are some of the things. And then apart from, you know, we have all this aspect of humanitarian preparedness and responding to disasters wherever you do it in a systematic way, that we have our branches and groups all across the country. Young people, we have even elderly, home links. We train them, give them skills. They prepare, they organize themselves. So when there is a disaster anywhere, they will be the first ones to be on the ground, because they are part of those communities. And with that, they will be able to act and to deliver whatever services, even if it is minimum, before from headquarters provide the support in terms of you know, backing them up.
That's beautiful. Talking about the School for Husbands, I realized that Starfish has a boys club. And I was actually thinking, okay, I'm in this place and they're like 90% females, and there's a boys club. And I'm asking, what are the mentors teaching the boys, or what are the boys doing there?
Instead of socializing people, right? So in any project that we go to do, we have to look at the concept becoming an integral part of the person, instead of the person conforming to the concept. So the boys program then becomes, if you want to empower and uplift girls, and you do it in a vacuum, what happens when they go into an office with men and boys who are not used to women being in those spaces, right? And then what happens when they get married, if they choose to get married, when they get married and are in families that where the men are not used to that concept, right? So with everything that we do, the boys, when I go to talk to a boy about how to be a man, even how to be a man that I deserve, it's a different impact than when you go and talk to that boy. There are certain experiences that you have and certain So in that sense, then, the concept becomes have the person closest to the context lead the change, right? So when we go into the provinces, people tell me all the time, Yassin, why don't you bring this to Fajara? Why don't you bring this to Basse? Why don't you bring this? And I go, no, for the first 10 years of Starfish, my responsibility was to bring people from Basse and so on and start in Lamin, because that's the concept, that's the context that I understand. And then all the children of Basse will go back to Basse. What they know about Basse is very different from what I know about Basse. The change that they can implement and lead there is very different, you see. And so when we have those concepts, then we don't wait for people to come from outside to develop Africa. When you come, we say we are leading the change because we understand this context the best. You can come with resources and you can walk with us. But if you walk with me in my neighborhood, I should be able to tell you all the back ways, the shortcuts, the streets, and so on. It's the same way when we bring volunteers into the country from abroad. We tell them that you are not allowed to take pictures. You can't just go in the street and take pictures of African children. Because when you're at home, this is not okay in your context, and we have enough respect for our children for that not to happen. However, if you're with a Caucasian person or somebody from abroad, and you meet a Gambian child, and they say to Bob any pen, if you're from Starfish, you have a responsibility to say to them, when we have visitors in our homes, what do we do? Do we beg them for water, or do we give them water? And the child will tell you, we give them water. And then you say, okay, so if this is a visitor in your country, what should you say? You say to Bob any pen, or you should say to Bob mango ngini, right? And so on. So it's these concepts, you know, telling our own stories and letting the people that are in the midst of it lead the change. That is why we have a voice program.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now it's very clear, and I understood that. Actually, I met a single boy in the midst of all the girls, and then it's a beautiful understanding that they get to work with girls and understand that you can be in a setup where a woman is your manager, or she's your boss, and you have to accept and be able to work with her, not looking at gender but to the table. So before we move to Mr. Senghore, I just want to do a quick draw for the supermarket spree. This person will be winning the chance, or stand the chance, of going to Ratio Supermarket and shopping for 1 minute. It's going to be fun. We'll show you all of that on Monday, but for now we'll just do the draw to see who the winner is. So in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and start. Okay, the numbers are rolling on the screen. Let's see who this lucky person is going with 19. Because this conversation I've had a lot of people ask me to ask you as well, that you were appointed the national coordinator of the COVID-19 response. But probably around a month we saw you back, everyone saw you back at the Red Cross. Why the movement, and if you want to throw a few words on it?
Well, I didn't want to bring that up because I think it's history, but I think for the sake of clarification, I have never worked for a government. In all my career, it's been humanitarian in the Red Cross, and also outside. And the bureaucratic system that exists in any government is something that I don't understand, and I can't survive. So I really did not survive the bureaucracy. I'm a type of a person that is very result-oriented. I want to deliver, and I want to deliver timely and quality services. So I joined this. I wanted to do it, but unfortunately I think it was too slow for me. And I did not have the space to do it. In doing response, you really need all the support, the resources, and the space to make quick decisions. And this wasn't there. So I think that's the main reason. And you can see I'm doing that now.
Definitely.
This wasn't there. So I think that's the main reason. And you can see I'm doing that now.
Definitely.
In the Red Cross, because I have the space, the safe space, I have the resources, and I'm able to deliver because I command based on principles, and it works.
Now, coming to the COVID-19, what's the responsibility of the Red Cross, and what are you guys doing in this?
Now, the Red Cross was created in the country by an act of parliament in 1966, and the mandate of the Red Cross was to play an auxiliary role to the government, to complement government efforts, based on the Geneva Conventions that the government signed, and also the fundamental principles, and the principles of there's 7, but the most important is independence and neutrality. That the Red Cross is able to deliver humanitarian services wherever the needs are, and the humanitarian imperative is what guides our action. When there are needs, it doesn't matter where you are, what political party or what tribe or whatever, we just deliver. And that's why the Red Cross has the freedom. Auxiliary to the government, we support the Minister of Health, complement what they are doing. Process as well, we contribute our quota. When we also do disaster response, preparedness and response. So, we can we can sort of bring in the network of the Red Cross, because it's 119 where they work in solidarity. If there is a disaster, either from our headquarters in Geneva or from sister societies who bring their resources together. And this is kind of a value addition to what the government is doing. So this is what the Red Cross does in terms of complementing what government does.
Okay, we've seen the beautiful work being done by the Red Cross. I've had the privilege of being there, of seeing these wonderful young men and women work, picking up and dropping off, and as well we have different teams that are there doing the burials and the quick response to family calls, to community calls, from hospitals, and it's very surreal seeing these young people doing all this beautiful work, and our thanks and appreciation goes to them. Ma'am, I wish we could continue this conversation because nobody. So in 1 minute, your final words, if anyone wants to reach out to Starfish, where can they find you, and final words to the young people and beautiful young ladies of this country.
If you want to reach us, we are on Facebook, Starfish International website. We are also in Lamin. There's a big signboard at the NTC that shows you where we are. So when I'm in the village, we are also, the country, we have Starfish chapters across the country can access my it actually be paid. Resources will find you. When we talk about corruption and all of these things that we need in order to make our values match our actions are actually taught and practiced. These are habits of the heart. You don't wait until you become a minister, you don't wait until you become a director before you start being honest, before you start being kind, before you start being service oriented. And then finally, that vocational training, we have a skills
at AfriCell Gambia on all major platforms. Once again, thank you to the Gambia Red Cross. Thank you to Starfish. Young people continue changing lives. We'll be here on Friday. Have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.
Be part of the amazing conversations with Get ready to be entertained, inspired, and motivated on the WAHTAN platform. Plus, stand a chance of winning the shopping of your life. Call or SMS 1010 for $3 is only to win cash prizes and a free shopping spree.
Join WAHTAN Be live on GRTS and social media on Mondays and Fridays at 9 p.m. Kalin New WAHTAN.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow.